are today doing Daf Lamed Chet Amud Bet. So, just to recap, let's just start from the Mishnah on Lamed Chet Amud Aleph. We'll try to fly through it quickly, just to recap a little bit. So the Mishnah says, Shomeret Yavam Shenaflu La Nechasim. If a lady is a Shomeret Yavam, her husband died, she's waiting to do Yibum, and she gets a Yerusha, Beit Shammai, Modim Beit Shammai uBeit Hillel, Shemocheret V'notenet V'kayam. Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree that Lechatchila, she has full rights to sell her whatever she got for a Yerusha, and the husband has no chelik in it. The husband has no, he can't stop her. He doesn't have any portion in it. Not the husband. The Yavam doesn't have any portion in it. Meta, maya ktuvata. If she dies, what should be done with her ktuva? Uvnechasim hanechnesin v'yotzinima, and with her items that she brought into the marriage. So there are two types of items that a lady can bring into a marriage. One is nichsei tzon barzel. Nichsei tzon barzel means she brings things into the marriage. They're evaluated, and the husband accepts upon himself to pay her the value that they are at the time that they entered his reshut. If there's a divorce or if he dies, that money is owed to her. So if it went up in value or if it went down in value, it doesn't matter. She came in with animals and with clothes and whatever, valued at $20,000. Even though some of the animals died and the clothes became old, and by the time the husband dies or if he divorces her, now they're only worth $5,000, it doesn't matter. He has to give her the $20,000, whatever they were evaluated. Or if it goes up, she came in with gold, jewelry, $20,000, and then a few years later the husband divorces her. Now that the gold went up, it's worth $50,000. Doesn't matter. He gives her the $20,000. He gives her that's nechsei son barzel. There's another type of that's in the ktuva, the nechsei son barzel. There's another another way that a girl could come in with money into a marriage is nechsei melug. Nechsei melug is whatever she brings in, she takes out. So if she brought in, this bracelet and this necklace and whatever it is, she's taking that out, regardless of the value. If it goes up in value, she keeps it. If it went down in value, she has to eat the loss. Yeah. So what happens with those nechasim? Now she's shomeret yavam and she died. Right, so she's waiting to do yibum and she died. Who gets that stuff? Beit Shammai Beit Shammai say that they split it. The brothers, the Yorshei Habal with the Yorshei Ha'av, her husband's Yorshim, split it with her, meaning her husband's brothers, because her husband died without children. She's a Shomer Yavam, so her husband's brothers split it with her father's family. Now we're going to see why in the Gemara. Beit Hillel omrim nechasim bechezkatan. Beit Hillel says that everything stays with whoever has a chazakah on it. Ktuva bechezkat yorshei habal. The ktuba, that's the chazakah, that's in the reshut of the baal, so that goes to the yorshei habal. And nechasim hanichnasim v'yotziinima bechezkat yorshei ha'av. And the items that she brought in, that she's taking back out, those are in her chazakah, not the husband's chazakah, so therefore they go to the yorshim of her father. Now, kansa areki ishto l'chol davar. If the yavam marries her, they're considered fully married with regard to everything. Just with regard to the ketubah is not collected from the monies or property of the yavam, but from the monies or the property of the original husband. Okay, so let's get to everything. Everything that we're going to do today is based off of the following question. So, Maishna Reisha de lo pligi, Maishna Seifa de pligi. What's the difference between the Reisha and the Seifa? Now, what's the question of the Gemara? So, we had two cases. One case is you have a lady who's waiting to do Yibum. Some items fall to her, and we said Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree. The Yavam has zero hand over here. He has no chazakah on anything, no claim on anything, and she could sell as she pleases. That's one case. Second case is if she died, so we would assume that everything goes to her father's family. The Yavam has no claim to any of her items. We just said if she's waiting to do Yibum and she gets a Yerusha, so the Yavam has no claim on anything. But if she dies, all of a sudden the Yavam has a claim and he splits according to Beit Shammai. The question is on Beit Shammai. According to Beit Shammai, the Yavam splits with the father. The Yorshim of the husband, who's the Yavam, and any of the other brothers, they split with the father. Why do they all of a sudden get a claim? How come in the first case they didn't have a claim, and in the second case, all of a sudden the husband, the Yavam's family has a claim? Why is that? So that's the question. So Amar Ula. So we're gonna give. There's gonna be 4 different answers. There's gonna be Ula. What is it? Ula, Rabba, Abaye, and Rava. There are 4 different answers. So we're gonna try to cover all of them today. So Amar Ula, Resha de nafla kshi arusa, v'sif nafla kshi nisua. So Ula says like this. The 2 cases are different. The first case, where she's allowed to sell as she pleases, that's talking about that she fell to Yibum after accepting Kiddushin. But she never was fully married. She never accepted Nisuin. And the second case, where the husband, the Yavam, has somewhat of a claim, that's when she was fully married, and then she fell to Yibum. So there, the connection is a little bit stronger, and therefore the Yavam has a claim. Kasavar Ula zikat arusa ose safek arusa. Ula holds that the zikah, the connection between the Yavam and a lady who was arusa, we're going to treat it like a safek arusa. And zikat nisua ose safek nisua. And the connection of a nisua, we treat it like a safek nisua. Which basically Ula is saying like this. That, Boker Tov, Ula is saying like this. That a lady who had, in the case where she's able to sell whatever comes to her, so she became a Shomeret Yavam after only Kiddushin, in which case her connection to the Yavam is not so strong, and therefore she's allowed to sell as she pleases. She has full rights over anything that she owns. The second case, the case where if she dies, the husband gets, or the Yavam gets a portion, the Yavam does have a claim in her assets. That is talking about she was fully married and she fell to Yibum, in which case we're viewing her as a Safek Nisua, so there's a chiluk here, meaning it's like a, we give the husband more of a right to claim, because, not the husband, the Yavam, sorry, more of a right to claim because there's a stronger Zikah here. So now just the Gemara explains, Zikat Arusa says Safek Arusa, the Zika of an Arusa, we treated it like a Safek Arusa, meaning it's a notch down from a regular Arusa, from a regular lady who has, who's Mikudeshet. If you're going to say that the Yavam has the status of somebody who's engaged to her fully, so that's not true. Why? Modim Beit Hillel shemocher d'noten v'kayam. What Beit Hillel would agree that she can lechatchila sell items that she has when she's fully mikudesha to somebody. Vatnan. We have a Mishnah that teaches not like this. It's naflula nechasim mishanit arisa. So let's say a lady is fully mikudeshet. She accepts kiddushin to somebody, and then she gets a yerusha. So Bet Shammai Omrim Timkor. Bet Shammai holds that, yeah, it's fully hers. She could do whatever she wants with it. She could sell it. Bet Hillel Omrim Lo Timkor. Bet Hillel says no, she cannot sell it. Her husband has a claim to this too. The guy who gave her kiddushin has a claim to this too. Elu ve'elu modim sheim machra v'natna kayam. But everyone agrees that b'di eved, if she sold, the sale is a valid sale. But what do you see? You see that if she is engaged to somebody, she accepted kiddushin from somebody, according to Beit Hillel, she is not allowed to sell lechatchila her items. Now, if she sells, it's a good sale, but she's not allowed to sell lechatchila her items. So this case where she's not engaged to the guy, but she was engaged, she accepted kiddushin, then she fell to yibum. So this is a notch down, and everybody would agree that even lechatchila she would be allowed to sell. Right? So you see that the Zika makes it a notch down from a full-on Arusa. She's like, we're calling it a Safek Arusa, and it's a notch down from a full-on Arusa, and she's allowed to, even Beit Hillel would agree that she's allowed to sell her Yerusha Lechatchila. Okay, that's the first case. Now Safek, Zikat Nisua ose safek nisua. We said the zika of a lady who is in nisua makes a safek nisua. So if you're going to tell me that when you have a lady falling from a nisuin to yibum, she's considered vaday nisua to her yavam in terms of him having a claim to her assets, that's not true. How do we know that? Because Beit Shammai would not say that they would split in that case. If items fall to her once she gets married, meaning she's married fully, and then her father dies, she gets a Yerusha. So elu velu modim she'im machrav natna she'abal motzim yalu kuchot. In that case, everybody agrees she's fully married. The husband has rights to her. He has a claim on her items, and even if she sells them, the sale is not a valid sale. So elishma mina zikat nisua safek nisua. So it must be. You see that Beit Shammai agrees that the husband has full right, and there's no claim that it should go to anywhere else. So therefore, they shouldn't split it. So the fact that they splits it when she's a shomeret yavam shows that it's a notch down, and she's what's it called? And if she dies, that's what's talking about the second case. If she dies, her nechasim gets split between her husband and the yorshim of the husband, which is the yavam, and the yorshim of her father. So Amar le Rabba. So Rabba says on the mifligi begufa ulachar mita lifligu bechayeu perot. Rabba asks just a very simple, straightforward question. He says, if that's the case, so if the case is that the first case is talking about she fell to yibum when she was arusa, and the second case is she fell to yibum when she was nisua, and if that's the difference, so why is the machloka? Why is the second case talking about that she died, and we're talking about splitting her property, her assets? Why don't we just talk about the product, what her field is yielding while she's still alive? It's the same halacha. The husband should have a right to it, and the father also should have some right to it. Why do we have, basically what he's asking is, why do we make the case that in the Mishnah, she died, what happens with her assets? What do you mean she died, what happens with her assets? It has nothing to do with death. Has nothing to do with death. She's a shomeret yavam, and she owns a field. Who gets the fruits? Because the husband has a claim, or whatever, the yavam has a claim, and the father has a claim, so they split it.
The husband died.
No, the yavam.
Yavam.
Yeah. So why don't we just make it a machloket about what her field is yielding? Meaning her husband died, she's waiting to do yibum.
So she doesn't have a husband.
She doesn't have a husband, she has a yavam. Why you claim she has a husband? The yavam. When I say husband, I mean yavam. The yavam.
The brother, you mean?
Yeah. The yavam has a claim because you're connected to me. There's a zika. We're like a little bit,
But they didn't do anything yet.
Doesn't matter. She can't. She's not. Right. Correct.
Even before you do anything,
yes.
He has right for her asset?
Yes. Meaning he has some claim that if she dies, he can say, I get. Or what Rabba is asking over here is they could even be arguing about the fruits. Not her actual field, but what her field is yielding. So when her husband was alive, it would go to her husband. Now it would either go to her father has a claim, or her yavam has a claim.
So if it's the other way, what's going to happen?
What do you mean?
If the yavam, the brother died before he has the yavam.
Nothing. If he has yorshim, it goes to his yorshim.
No,
a wife is not yoresh her husband. The children are yoresh. Okay. Ella Amar Rabba. Idi v'idi, we have to go a little bit fast because it's a big amud today. So Ela Amar Rabba, Idi v'idi did naflak shi nisua. So that was Abayi's answer. Rabba, he gives a different answer. So the question was, how come in one case the husband has some claim on her assets, and in the second case when she dies, her husband doesn't have a claim? So Rabba gives, Abayi's answer was the first case she was falling to Yibum through Erusin, the second case she was falling to Yibum through Nisuin. So Rabba gives different answer. Idi v'idi naflak shi nisua. Both cases, she fell to Yibum when she's Nisua, when she's fully married. And Zikat Nisua also Safek Nisua. Really, the Zika, the connection that happens through the falling over of Yibum, that makes her a Safek Nisua, gives her a status of a Safek Nisua. and by any safek, we go after the chazaka. So listen to what he says. He says, Resha dihi kaimam havla'ihi vadai venhu safek. So in the first case, where she's alive right now, she's a shomeret yavam, she's alive, so she's treated as a safek nisua. So she is a vadai. She vadai gets the Yerusha of her father, and the brothers are a safek because they're trying to claim, oh, you're connected to us. You have a zikah to us. Or one of the brothers says, I was going to do yibum to you. You have a zikah, and I have a claim. I have a right to this Yerusha. So that he's only a safek. So ve'en safek motzeh midei vadai. Safek doesn't take from vadai. She is a vadai yoresh. This yavam is only a safek, and en safek motzeh midei vadai. The safek cannot take from a vadai. Therefore, she has the full rights to sell it because she could tell him, listen, you're a safek, and I'm a vadai yoresh here, so you have no claim. And seifa demeta. Now the seifa, in the case of the seifa, she died, so she's not muhzak anymore. She's not a vadai muhzak on the assets that fell to her for a Yerusha. So halalu bain liresh, v'halalu bain liresh. So her father's family is coming to be yoresh her and saying, oh, our daughter died, she left over these assets, or whatever. Our sister died, she left over these assets. The yavam is coming to be yoresh, and he say, oh, my yevama, my shomeret yavam, she was waiting for me to do yibum. She died, I'm gonna be yoresh her assets, just like a husband should be yoresh her wife. So in that case, yachloku, because you have no vadai versus safek. Right. In that case, there's nobody who has more of a chazakah on it. There's no vadai versus safek. Whereas when the woman is alive, she's a vadai and the guy is a safek. Right. So basically, the way Rabbah is explaining is the case where the husband has no claim. That's when she's still alive. She's saying, I'm vadai muhzak. You're safek whether you get anything. Get lost. I'm selling it. I have the rights to it. The case where the husband or the shomer, the yavam, has a claim on it, that's a case where she also died, and therefore she can't say am vadai muhzak. Her assets are floating in the air, and the yavam wants to claim some, and her brothers want to claim some. In that case, there's no vadai. She's considered a safek nisua because maybe she would have, maybe she's considered nisua to this guy, maybe she's not. So therefore, they split it. Okay, et ve'abaye. Abaye asks on this. So you had Rabbah's answer, now Abaye asks on this. So this whole answer is based off of the understanding that Beit Shammai would agree that ein safek motzi midei vadai. That when you have a safek versus a vadai, that the safek doesn't have any claim. So ul Beit Shammai ein safek motzi midei vadai. So Abaye asks, whoa. You're saying that Beit Shammai agrees to this rule that ein safek motzi midei vadai when you have somebody who's vadai muhzak, and you have somebody who has a safek claim, their claim doesn't stand. That's not true. It says va'atanan nafal abayit alav va'al aviv alav va'al morishav. So let's say you have a case where a house fell on somebody and on his father. So we don't know who died first. Va'yu alav ktuvat isha u'ba'al chov, and he owed money. So you have Ruvain over here. Okay, Ruvain. A house falls on Ruvain and on his father. Ruvain has zero money. Now Ruvain owes he has balei chov, or he has to pay a ketubah. He owes people. He owes $5,000. He has $0. Mm-hmm. So if he dies, he died. That's it. But if his father died first, the house fell. If his father died first, so he's yoresh the father, and now he has money to pay the people who he owes, the balei chov. He has money to pay the people who have a shtar. So Yorshe ha'av omrim. We have to try to finish this. We don't have so much time. Yorshe ha'av omrim haben met rishon v'achagach met av. The ones who the yorshim of the father, they're saying, listen, the Ruvain died first, and then our father died. So we're keeping everything. We don't owe any of this money to pay off the debts that Ruvain owed because he was never yoresh any of this money. He died first. And the people who Ruvain owes money to, they're saying, Ha'av met rishon v'achagach met haben. First the father died, and the son was yoresh, and then it went to and we get some of that claim. We get a claim on that too. So Beit Shammai omrim yachloku. Beit Shammai says they split it. Ubeit Hillel omrim nechasim becheskatan. Beit Hillel says no, everything stays with a chazakah that it belongs to the father's yorshim. So what's the question? It says v'hahacha yorshi av vadai ubal chov safek. In this case, the yorshim of the father, they have a vadai claim on the father's assets, on the Yerusha. Listen, it's our father. We have a strong vadai claim on his Yerusha. You're coming and saying, oh, there's a safek. Maybe really the son died after the father and he's Yoresh and he owes us the money and we take that money. You're coming with a koach of safek. But so what should we say? Ein safek motzi midei vadai. But what do we say? Beit Shammai said they split it. But why would Beit Shammai say they split it? It must mean that they don't hold of this rule. Ein safek motzi midei vadai. So that's the question of the Gemara. So v'kati safek motzi midei vadai. In this case, you have the safek, which is the claim of the balei chov, that they're claiming, hey, the father died first and then the son died, and therefore we're owed some of this money. So that's considered a valid claim by Beit Shammai, even though it's a safek against the vadai. So Kasavar Beit Shammai, shtar ha'omed legabot kegabui dami. So the Gemara says, no, Beit Shammai holds, since they have a shtar, that makes their claim stronger. It's as if they already collected the money. It's as if it's in their possession. It's not a safek. It's not like they're trying to take out money from a safek, but it's as if they have a stronghold on that money. It's as if they have a chazakah on that money. And therefore, it's not safek versus vadai. So, uminat timra. Now, how do I know this? That a shtar makes the claim much stronger and it's not viewed as a safek anymore. Ditnan. Metu ba'alehen ad shloshatu. So this is So this is talking about a lady. Very interesting case. A lady is a sota. Her husband is bringing her to drink the sota water to be tested. Now, right, she was suspected of being unfaithful with kinui and seer. The husband warned her, and she was seen secluded with another man. And now she's being taken to drink the sota water to test if she actually did anything or not. So the halacha is that if she is found to be unfaithful, she doesn't get a ketubah. If not, then she still gets her ketubah. So now what happens is, on the way, she's about to drink and the husband died. So does she get a ketubah or not? Meaning, if she really was unfaithful, then she doesn't get a ketubah. If not, then she gets her ketubah. But over here, she's about to find out, and her husband died. So Beit Shammai omrim notlot ketubatan ve'enan shotot. Beit Shammai says she takes her ketubah, she doesn't drink the water. Ubeit Hillel omrim o shotot o notlot ketubatan. Beit Hillel says, we're gonna change what they say in a moment because it doesn't make sense. Beit Hillel says either she could drink or take her ketubah. So the Gemara says, what? O shotot, either she could drink. Vehevi ha'ish et ishto amar rachmana veleka. The Torah says that the man has to bring his wife, which means that if there's no husband, she doesn't drink. So ela mitok shelo shotot lo notlot ketubatan. Beit Hillel says that since she can't drink, she doesn't take her ketubah. So, but our focus is Beit Shammai because our whole question is in Beit Shammai. So the question is, according to Beit Shammai, you see, not question, but the proof is, you see, according to Beit Shammai, that we're trying to prove that if there's a shtar or a ketubah, she has more of a chazakah on it. So the v'hahacha the safek hu, in this case, it's a safek, right? Meaning the husband, he's muhzak on his ketubah. There's a safek here whether she has a claim to it, because safek zinai, safek lo zinai. There's a safek whether she did znut and lost her ketubah, or she didn't do znut and she didn't lose her ketubah. But the husband, the assumption is that the husband is muhzak and she's trying to take out from safek. V'akaati safek v'motzi midei vadai. So it sounds like if she's able to collect her ketubah, her safek claim is taking out of the vadai chazakah of the husband. So you have to say that when there's a shtar, that makes her claim stronger, and it's as if it's in her possession already. It's as if the assets written in the shtar are in her possession already. And therefore, her claim is not viewed as a safek claim, like she's trying to take out money from safek, but it's like she already has a claim on it. She already has it in her hand, ki'ilu. So the Gemara says, okay, v'abaye lot ve'meha. So the Gemara says, Abaye, who asked on Rabbah that shtar ha'omed legabot, who asked on Rabbah, Ein Saf Beit Shammai doesn't hold Ein Safek Motzi Midei Vadai. Why didn't he ask from here? Why did he ask from the other case of the house falling? Why didn't he ask from this case? So it says Dilma Ktuba Isha Shani Mishum China. The Gemara says maybe the Ktuba of a woman is different Mishum China because of Chen. We want the husband to, we want her to have more of a likelihood to want to get married. Therefore, we're more lenient with giving her the Ktuba, and we give her Ktuba even through Safek. That's what Abaye thought was the pshat in this Mishnah. Okay, Velot ve'Ktuba de matnitin. Why didn't Abaye ask from the case of Ktuba of our Mishnah? Meaning, we said in our Mishnah that according to Beit Shammai, her Ktuba is split. Right? If you read the Mishnah, just a simple understanding of the Mishnah, that's what it sounds like. The Mishnah said, what do we do with it? She meta, if she died, what do we do with her ketubah and with the nechasim that she brought into the marriage? So Beit Shammai said split it. Well, 1 second. So the Gemara says, lo pligi. Right? There's no question here. There's no machloket here. Meaning Beit Shammai agrees on the ketubah that the Safek Nisua doesn't have a claim on the Ketubah. Ein Safek Motzi Midei Vadai, that the Yavam doesn't have a claim on her Ketubah. So the Gemara says, Velo, what, they're not arguing about this? They're not, Beit Shammai is not arguing about this. Vaktani, it said in our Mishnah, we'll reiterate the words of our Mishnah. Vaktani, Meta, she dies. What happens with her ketubah and with her other items that she brought into the marriage, so that she has now? So Beit Shammai Beit Shammai says she splits the husband's yorshim, which is the yavam, and the father's yorshim, which are her brothers, her yorshim. So they split it. So Beit Hillel omrim nechasim bechazkatan. Beit Hillel says everything stays with its chazaka. So how do you see that they're not splitting the ketubah? Beit Shammai said clearly they're splitting the ketubah. So the Gemara says no. Hachika amar. This is what it means to say. Meta, if she dies, ma yaseh beketuvata. What happens with the ketubah? V'shavka. We didn't answer that. With regard to her ketubah, we never got into it. Now nechasin hanichnasim v'yotziinima. What was called nechsei melug, the stuff that she brought into the marriage that she's taking out. Beit Shammai omrim yachloku. Beit Shammai says that they split it. Yeah, the yorshei habal im yorshei ha'av. The yavam and her brothers will split it. Beit Hillel nechasim bechazkatan. Beit Hillel says nechasim bechazkatan. So what's Abaye trying to say? Abaye is trying to. What's the Gemara trying to say? The Gemara is saying that Beit Shammai really, Abaye didn't ask from here because Beit Shammai really didn't argue with the ketubah, and they agree that the ketubah is in her chazaka. Amar Rav Ashi, Matni Namideka. Rav Ashi says we also have a diuk from our Mishnah, Diktani Yachloku Yorshei Habal im Yorshei Ha'av. It says the Yorshim of the Baal take with the Yorshei Ha'av. It sounds like really the main chazaka is by her father, by her family, the chazaka of what she owns, the ketubah that she owns when she's a shomeret yavam. It's under the chazaka of her father's family and her family. It's just that the yavam has somewhat of a claim, yachloku yorshei habal im yorshei ha'av, together with the yorshei ha'av. So it sounds like the major chazaka mainly is by the yorshei ha'av. V'loktani yorshei ha'av im yorshei habal. It doesn't say yorshei ha'av im yorshei habal. Shma mina. So from there you see that it is the main chazaka is by the muhzak of the by her. Okay, Amar Abaye. Let's try to just see in a couple minutes Abaye and Rava also. Much simpler. So Amar Abaye, Resha de naflula k'shi shomeret yavam, seif naflula k'shi tachtav. So again, they're coming to answer the same question. In one case, we said that she's allowed to sell when she's a shomeret yavam her assets, and the yavam has no claim. That's talking about when the assets fell to her after her husband died. So then the yavam has no claim. This is what Abaye says. But seifa denaflula k'shi tachtav, the case where the husband has a claim on it and he splits it, that's talking about where assets fell to her when she was originally married to her first husband, and then he died. That the yavam has a claim on. Tachtav the Baal. The Kasavar Abaye Yado Keyada. Abaye holds Yado Keyada, that his the husband's hand is like her hand. The husband's hand is actually more than her hand. The husband has a stronger claim, and then when she's a shomeret yavam, it drops down a little bit, and it's an equal claim to the claim of the father's household, and that's why they would split it. Amar le Rava. So Rava said to Abaye, if they felt her when she was underneath the jurisdiction of the husband, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel would both agree. Everybody would agree that it stops at 30 minutes. Okay, if it was what's it called? Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel would agree that Yado Adifa Miyada, that her hand is stronger than his hand is stronger than her hand. So Ella says Rava Idi v'Idi denaflak shehi shomeret yavam. Both cases are talking about that it fell to her when she was a shomeret yavam. Reishad lo avad b'ma'amar sevid avad b'ma'amar. Rava's answer is that the first case where she has the right to sell it, it fell to her before any ma'amar was done. Therefore, she has full rights to the assets that fell to her, and she could sell it, she could do whatever she wants. And Seifa, David B'ma'amar. The Seifa, where the husband, the Yavam, has some claim in her assets, that's talking about that he did Ma'amar. And Rava holds that Beit Shammai will tell you Ma'amar makes her really as if she's an Arusa, as if she's engaged to him, and therefore it's like he did Kiddushin on her, and therefore he has a claim to her assets, and she can't just sell without his permission. And if anything falls to her, then he would have a claim in it, and if she dies, he would have a claim in it as well. V'safek nesua vaday arusa. Ma'amar Beit Shammai osef vaday arusa v'safek nesua. So Ma'amar makes her a vaday arusa and a safek nesua. Vaday arusa litchot betzara. She's considered vaday arusa in terms of that the tzara is now free to go, and v'safek nesua lachlok b'nechasim. She's considered safek nesua in terms of his claim on her items, that he splits it. If she dies, he splits it with her yorshim, with her father or brothers or whoever else would be yoresh. Okay, so we'll stop here. I know we